arrogant, throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Trying to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing, obviously never silent. New alignment, I'm defiant, cannot describe it. Used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard, I always got carded. Hit every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face, and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will ever see. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. I can show you where my...
The type of guy that would ride with the breeze. I'm higher than most people. I'm cold and icicle freeze. I'm liking to Mike Tyson. I'm a bison, a beast. I'm hot like Jamaica, like right by the beach. My pops is from a spot where they're fighting for peace. 8 years old out there watching people fight in the streets. All these sirens only make the violence increase. Yeah, we're still not loving police. It's that bright young American, nice, dumb, arrogant, tight on a mic, but he might need a therapist. Heart full of kerosene, head full of fairy tales. Said that you're my homie, you don't know me, but I know you very well. Roll back on some West Coast shit. This whole track is wetter than your dress code kiss. About to hit the track, running on some retrofit. Against all it, I guess so, bitch, now let's go.
I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve. Even if the beat stops, my soul will not leave. If I never stood tall, nobody will...
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's Tuesday. Pinky, how you doing, my buddy? September 26th.
Oh, buddy.
7:30 p.m. Mountain Time. A little sippy sip time.
We might tie one on tonight. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Pinky's gonna be sad and angry probably at me a lot. We'll hope for the best, prepare for the worst, guys. That's all we can really do tonight. That's all we can really do. Okay, stick with us because I have a feeling a lot of you are not going to be happy. A lot of you already are not happy. A lot of you are going to be sad and unhappy. There's the 12 stages of grief, 6 stages of grief, 5 stages of grief. What is it? Grief's got 5.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like once I get to the point that I'm numb, like it just doesn't matter. You know, whatever that step is.
Yeah, I think grief's got 5. I think Broncos country is all in like number 4 right now. I think the last one is acceptance. I think that's the next step for all of Broncos country. We'll see how long it takes to get there.
I don't know if they're going to get there for a little while, buddy. There's still some folks out there. We'll see. We'll see. Oh.
Okay. Well, guys, it's time to put the hope away. Okay. We'll get there. We'll explain why, and we'll discuss it a little bit later. But let's just be honest right up front, right away. It's time to put the hope away. We'll see if there's a reason to bring it out. In like 365 days from now. But as of right now, it's just we'll tuck it away. Just tuck it away in the back and just forget you even had it.
I mean, just enjoy watching everybody else's teams play well, and hopefully your fantasy team's playing well, right? At least you can root for those guys.
You can hope. Yeah, you can hope for that.
If you've got enough leagues, you should be good in at least one of them.
Sure. That would be the hope. But then again, maybe there are some people who are just truly putting all hope away. Just right out to the side.
So we had our I did want to just touch base real quick. We had our first parlay we put together for the podcast. And out of 8, we did miss 3. We missed 3. Now, I think I'm comfortable saying with the rest of the world, we all missed the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I've never seen slower quarterback runs go for like 25 yards.
Yeah, that
than what I saw.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, as a whole,
we had three games that let us down.
We thought Tennessee was really going to be able to pull it out. That was just okay. And what was the last one that we missed on again?
The Buffalo Bills Commanders.
What did we say on that?
We picked over 44.5. There was only 40 points.
Yeah, Buffalo's defense showed up out of nowhere. Again, we'll talk about that. But bummer on those three for sure. For sure. That would have been a good little parlay.
It would have been a really nice parlay. But we'll put another one together. I got another $10 free bet. So
good.
We'll put another one together, and we'll see how it goes. No, Casey. That's not how this works, Casey. That's not how that works. I am going to enjoy in other teams playing bad. And Cowboys. I mean, Cowboys did what they do sometimes. They play really bad against, like, opponents they shouldn't play bad against. Like 2 years ago when I went to Dallas, like there's no reason a Teddy Bridgewater Broncos team should have demolished the Cowboys.
30-0 or something like that. Stupid.
It was 30-0 before the Cowboys scored like 16 to finish it off.
Yeah, that was bad.
So yeah, we're talking about it, Casey. We're talking about it.
It will be discussed. It will be discussed.
I didn't have anything good to talk about from the weekend, my man. We just kind of like hung out and watched football, and
okay.
You know, that was like the weekend went by really fast. Yeah, that was it. That was it. At least my fantasy teams were pretty damn good this weekend. Other than that,
good for you.
So, one shining moment.
All right. Nebraska won. That's a plus. It's a plus.
It's like one of the first times without a guy named Martinez, right?
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we won without a guy named Martinez behind the center. So that
Who
was
played?
Nice. I mean, it was
Who
like
played QB.
Hackenberg.
Okay. So they didn't play.
Sims apparently wasn't healthy. Yet fully.
Okay.
But he did come up in backup duties for 2 plays. So take that for what it's worth. I've always been under the mindset if your starting quarterback was injured and then sat on the bench to be your backup quarterback, then he was healthy enough to be your starting quarterback, and the reason you're not playing him has nothing to do with injury.
No, it's because he sucks.
Yeah. So hopefully they can do it again next week. That'd be nice. Get a little bit closer to a win streak. Not really sure what those are anymore, but that'd be nice to see. Start refreshing my memory. We've got baseball is wrapping up, so next week we will be talking a little baseball as far as playoffs starting and all that good stuff.
It's funny. I was listening to the 5280 podcast because they were on before us, so I was at the gym listening to them, and they had. I don't know if you know Denver sports guy DMAC. Previously of the Fan, he was recently let go.
He was,
which is unfortunate. Never like to hear people lose jobs in that industry, but it is something that happens. He was on the show, and he was super excited.
He was on the 5280 podcast show.
He was. Okay. I think he gave him about. I want to say he gave him about 10 minutes, which was good.
Solid.
He was on his way to Coors Field to try to see the Rockies lose their 100th game and make some history.
Nice.
So he was super excited about the Rockies making some history. And I was like, that's probably the best way to handle that right now for the Rockies. Just be excited when they lose.
And they beat the Dodgers. Go figure.
Right. They won earlier today to beat the Dodgers, and we'll see what happens in the night game.
So we will be talking some baseball. We'll kind of do a season wrap up, if you will, and then we'll discuss the playoffs. Look, guys, it's not that we don't follow it or pay attention to it. It's just that we don't really we could talk about it. It's just we find other things a little bit more entertaining to discuss, and so we discuss those. And baseball's a really long season that Like you could take
that's just what gets me, man. It's the long.
Like you could
162
dissect
game
the
season.
heck out of baseball, which is what baseball people do, and I love the numbers, and we could dive into them. It's just not what I'm trying to discuss right now, and I know Pinky could do without it, so we're not going to talk about it until it's meaningful.
Bro, my Braves are #1, baby. So
looking real good. Looking real good.
I'm good. I'm good right now.
Acuna doing things.
We can talk about Acuna.
Never been done before.
We could talk about that whole lineup.
Yeah,
that whole lineup's been smashing, bro. Matt
Olson killing it. What does he have? Like 55 home runs now. So
yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk some baseball next week. We'll set aside a little bit of time.
Cody, like
give it its just due.
Trout's not playing right now, right? And Shohei's out, so like there's no reason to talk about the Angels, Cody. Sorry, bro. The league has moved on.
The Cody. Angels might be worse than the A's. Think about that.
Ooh, easy.
I'm just saying, think about that.
Easy.
You think if the A's had Trout and Ohtani, they would have screwed it up as bad as the Angels have?
No, the A's would have won a title and then let him go.
Exactly. So, thinking about it that way, I'm just saying, like, Angels might actually be the worst franchise in baseball. And that's saying a lot considering how I feel about the Rockies. So, Cody, look, my guy, I speak truth here. You may not like the truth. It may not
probably
be
more
sometimes. I just give you the truth, and you deal with it how you must.
Angels are probably one of the worst run teams in the last decade. Would be a fair statement, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy is they've got some World Series titles. So,
they haven't had one since the late 90s, right?
Early 2000s, I want to say.
I
want to say like 04.
I think they were in a World Series. I don't think they won it though.
With Sosa, yeah. Yeah, they did. Yeah, for sure. I want to say it was Angels Giants actually. 2002, Cody says.
2002, yep.
Boom.
Against the Giants.
Told you. 04, I was close. I knew it was right in there.
So
I knew it couldn't be an odd year because the Giants won every odd year in up until just recent memory. That's why they have 30,000, World Series titles because every odd year the Giants won. So yeah, we'll talk some baseball, college football. We'll talk a little bit tonight. Obviously, plenty of NFL. There's not much else going on. Basketball and hockey are about to start training camps.
Hockey's playing preseason games now. The Avs played 2 straight against the Golden Knights.
I want to say they started training camp a week and a half ago. 2 weeks ago, maybe.
The Avs have been skating for 2 weeks or more, I think.
2 weeks, yeah. Basketball's reporting, so we'll be full preseason for both of those sports. And they'll be kicking off here in the next couple of weeks, and then we are full go with hockey, basketball, football. We don't talk a lot of hockey either. Everybody knows that. We do talk at playoff time. Our boy Cody comes on. He helps us get educated a little bit.
When Cody comes on, kind of here and there, we talk some hockey.
Yeah.
So Cody's welcome, and we'll talk some hockey whenever he wants to join us.
We've got the Ryder Cup coming up this weekend. So anybody that loves golf or wants to give it a chance, like I said last time, a couple weeks back when we talked about it, definitely worth checking out. Again, it's America versus Europe. Tournament format, singles, doubles, best ball format. They'll play scramble, all the good stuff. But it's not like everybody for themselves. That's the great thing. It is a team competition. Like I said, the crowds get rowdy, especially over in Europe. Rowdy. So it does give you a different feel and a different look than what you're normally seeing for championship golf or, regular Saturday, Sunday golf you might see on the weekends. So definitely highly recommend checking that out. And that's about it before college football, I believe, Pinky. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything that I wanted to throw out there real quick.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. There was a UFC fight night this weekend, but it wasn't like anything special. I always double check. The next 294 is the next one with Makachev versus Olivier 2. That's probably a good fight. And Kamaev is fighting Cost. Ooh, that's a good card. I'll take that one right now.
Okay.
It's got like 3 dudes that all look the same. That's like, yeah.
That's what does it for Pinky, ladies and gentlemen. 3 dudes that all look the same.
You know, there's literally, if you look at the picture, like that's the same dude with different facial hair. Like, you can't really tell the difference.
You want to rev Pinky's motor, you get 3 dudes that look the same, and you watch something special happen. That's all I'm gonna say, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, when they get mounted, I get excited. That's how it works, man. That's how it works. My wife hates it when we watch UFC fights together because I just start throwing out just like, mount him, dominate him. Or when the chicks fight, I'm like, that's right, let's get some scissoring, let's go. And
get him from behind. Get him from behind.
She's like, you're just an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm an idiot. It's fine. I'm having a good time. So,
oh boy.
Riker, we'll get there. We're not talking that yet. We've got kind of a system. Sometimes we go off the rails, but we kind of have a system. So we're not talking Bronco stuff yet. And I mean, I saw you on the last podcast listening to those guys. They're probably a lot more positive than we are.
Oh, they're going to be way nicer about the situation than what the truth actually is. Don't worry. You want to hear some stuff, you stick around, Riker. We'll get there, buddy.
College football. Man, that Ohio State Notre Dame game.
Dude. Did you watch it?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So, what would you say was the biggest mistake made by Notre Dame in that final, let's call it 5 minutes of the game?
Oh, their play calling was not great, and they ended up giving the ball like right.
How so? How so was the play calling not great?
I don't remember the exact plays, but they didn't quite make sense for the, let's basically wind that clock down, right?
Thank you.
So
you're running the ball at like 5 yards a clip, and you're going to try throwing it when all you have to do is basically get like 2 first downs and the game's over. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then to give Ohio State the ball back with what was like a minute 42, something like that, right? Like to give them the ball back on like their own 35 and for them to drive all the way down the field in a minute 42 with no timeouts, I believe, if I remember correct, or they had 1 timeout, something like that.
Yeah.
And to get that touchdown the way they got it, with you playing 10 men on the field for the final 2 plays of the game, when all honesty, if you had 11 guys on the field and somebody covering that gap, you might be able to stuff them from getting in the end zone. Man, like, it's hard. I don't like saying teams lost games. I'm usually much more on the side of teams won games. But Notre Dame lost that game, man. They lost that game.
I mean, Ohio State took it too. I mean, it's close. It's close enough.
Absolutely. Give Ohio State credit. You still got to go out there and take it if they're going to give it to you, right? You can't let it just sit there and do nothing with it. So power to Ohio State for going out there and getting the dub. But damn, man, last 2 plays, 10 men on the field. You have the ball. You've been running it 5 yards a clip, basically, and you decide to throw the ball when all you need to do is run down the clock. Not good. Not good, Notre Dame.
There was a one where the the quarterback for Ohio State threw the ball right into the Notre Dame safety's hands, and he dropped it. And I was just like, oh, that's going to come back and bite him.
Yep, there were two of those that just like, dang.
DB,
So that was a good game, but woof, tough way to lose.
That Clemson game, I was watching that one too, and it just seemed like Clemson kept letting Florida State hang around, and in the second half, the momentum shifted, and it was all Florida State, and they came back, tied it up, and then in overtime, got the win. Just let
I
them
think
off
we
the
really
hook.
are looking at the end of Clemson being dominant like Alabama. I don't see them making it back.
They just don't have the quarterback. They just don't.
So we'll see.
And that you need the quarterback.
This would be the third year in a row that they've been down.
Right. Because
this is T-Law's third year in the league, right? So since he left, Clemson has had some issues.
Absolutely.
So I'm not sure, if you're down for 3 years, a year, maybe 2, okay, but 3, you're done. You're not one of the elite programs anymore. You're still really good. Don't get me wrong. You're just not one of the elite programs.
Riker's got this is a great question.
I like it.
Can an 11-1 Notre Dame team make the playoffs?
Well, Riker, that implies they beat USC. They beat Pitt. They beat, what's the other big one?
I don't know their schedule off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I can look it up.
Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking about some of the bigger wins they have.
Good thing I've
Their
got
only
Google
loss
here,
would
right?
be to Ohio State, so they would need that loss to Ohio State. Ohio State would have to make it to.
They don't have a pushover game this weekend. They play Duke this weekend.
It's not a pushover game, but they should
win. They play Louisville.
That's a good game, which they should win.
They play
but
USC. They play Pitt. They play Clemson, which isn't a pushover. Okay. They play Wake Forest, then they play Stanford.
Okay. So here's the deal. Yes, if Ohio State makes it to at least the Big Ten championship. If Ohio State loses to Michigan and Ohio State is not in the Big Ten championship, but Ohio State beats Penn State and Ohio State only has one loss, maybe Notre Dame could kind of sneak in that way. But really, with the loss that they have now, they have to. They have to have Ohio State basically win.
And some of these, most of these games, I think, need to be pretty dominant. If they beat USC by just a little bit, who's a top team, I think that's okay. But all these other victories need to be pretty dominant performances to
because here's the deal right now.
Because you don't get that championship game performance to add on to the resume.
Right now you've got Oregon might be the front runner in the Pac-12 right now, ever so slightly, possibly. Washington's there, Utah's there, USC is there. There's 4 teams sitting right there in the top of the Pac-12. So it's not definitive. Not definitive that USC is going to win the Pac-12. So they need to beat USC because if USC doesn't win the Pac-12, that's not a great win. Clemson doesn't look like they're winning the ACC anymore, so that's not a great win. Pitt probably isn't winning the ACC, so that's not a great win. So you kind of see where we're going here. It's Notre Dame. The problem with them not being in a conference, and like Pinky just said, not having that championship game to play one last time to kind of put everybody's eyes on them hurts.
It does.
So one loss.
Really does.
Now, when it goes to 12, one loss Notre Dame, no question. You don't even have to think about it.
It's Notre Dame.
Move along.
Notre Dame will get in, yeah.
But one loss right now, 4 team. They got to have Ohio State win. Then you're probably looking at Georgia. It looks like probably right now out of the SEC. And so that's Georgia, Ohio State, probably the Pac-12 winner, the way those 4 teams are playing. So let's just say Oregon wins. So Oregon. And then you're looking at between the ACC champ, which could be probably Florida State, the Big 12 champ, which Texas,
I still think Alabama's going to get back in the conversation.
Yeah, but so Texas beat Alabama. So if Texas could win the Big 12, do you take a Big 12 championship Texas that beat Alabama over Notre Dame, who's a one-loss team that lost to Ohio State?
You probably would.
So it's going to be an uphill battle right now for Notre Dame. They're going to need a lot of things to happen to get into that college football playoffs. Speaking of Oregon, Pinky, they played a team called the Buffaloes. The Buffaloes of the University of Colorado. And I heard a lot of people telling me that it was going to be a good game. It was going to be a good game. And it was going to be high scoring, not a lot of defense. I mean, they were halfway right.
So I don't know if you'll give me credit for this, but I had said the biggest flaw in Shador's game is him not running when he needed to. And he didn't. He did not run away from pressure. He didn't run for wide open. There was wide open first downs for him to run and go get.
He does not like to scramble a whole lot.
He doesn't. And not that would have helped, but he could have got a couple first downs. He could have slowed down the pass rush a little bit. He may have given him some time. It was very obvious that offensive line had no answers for Oregon's D-line. And I don't know if Oregon's got the best defense to begin with, but they sure looked like they did after that ass whooping they put on them. And it was both sides of the line.
Look, I'm going to say this, and people might laugh, and that's fine. I still think Nebraska has the best defense Colorado's played. But I'll say it again. When you have a Heisman-level quarterback behind center and a competent offensive scheme and big boys in front of him, it can do a whole lot of good. And so Oregon with Bo Nix and those boys.
I'm gonna back up just. I gotta back up just a sec on this. Nebraska has a really good defense, but their D line is nowhere, or didn't make CU look as bad as Oregon's D line did. So that may be where you don't have quite the same playmakers, but you still have a good defense and a good scheme.
I won't argue that the boys,
because I saw that in that game.
Oregon are definitely better than Nebraska's. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I think I think people were putting too much stock into beating Nebraska the way they did. Again, Nebraska had 6 turnovers. If they have 2, Nebraska's still in that game. That you can't overlook those facts. And then you're going to play, a really good Oregon team with an offense that is high-powered and think that you can hang with them like it's Nebraska. And let's be honest, Nebraska was moving the ball against Colorado. That wasn't the problem. The problem was they just decided to just hand it to Colorado every so often for fun. Oregon didn't want to do that, apparently. Oregon didn't want to share. And so
they did not want to share.
They boat raced them real bad. So, and again, I'm not saying Colorado's terrible. I'm the one, and if I have to keep reminding people, I don't care. Well, I'm the one that said Deion Hire was amazing. He's going to have him great, and Shador's going to be a dark horse Heisman candidate.
It just looked very evident that on both sides of their lines, they were not up. They did not have the dogs.
No, they do not
to make that fight.
Nothing close to it.
And again, for me, if Shador would have used his legs and at least slowed down the pressure a little bit, he probably could have found some throws. Now, again, they were missing their best player on both sides of the football. That absolutely impacts the game too. Not to the level of if Travis Hunter plays, maybe CU stays within 25, maybe. But they still would have. I'm saying they still would have got beat, but maybe they keep it within 25 points of of the thrashing that they received. So,
see, you got a bit of a wake-up call. And I don't think it's a bad thing. And I don't know if it's necessarily a wake-up call for them in the sense that
I mean, what's the line for this
they
weekend?
think they're
playing
good enough to
USC
beat
this
Oregon.
weekend.
Well, it was 21 and a half last weekend against Oregon.
It was 21.
21. Probably going to be about the same with USC.
I might take that USC one because if USC watch that game at all, they'll pretty much copy it. 21 and a half.
Yeah, and that's probably going to happen.
I think I might take that.
But CU fans, like, look, I don't necessarily like giving you guys hope, but Dion can recruit. He's going to be just fine this offseason.
I mean,
there's going to be some dogs coming in.
He said it himself. They're 7 to 8 dogs away from really competing.
Yep.
Like he made that comment like after the TCU game.
He knows exactly where he's at. So, but the experience they're getting this year and the ability to kind of learn the level of competition, if you will, for a lot of the guys that followed him from Jackson State is huge. It's huge. Any other college football you want to discuss?
I mean, I think everything else was just pretty much normal. I'm gonna give a little bit. Our boys up at the Air Force Academy are doing their thing. They're not really good all the time, but when they are, they're fun to watch, and they did their thing this weekend again. So kudos to Air Force.
Triple option is alive and well, baby. Love it.
So I'm going to give them some kudos. My boys, my Hurricanes came through again. Now that they weren't playing anybody special this weekend. So
who they play?
I want to say it. Maybe it was the week before they played Bethune, but Temple. We played Temple this week, 41-7.
Ooh,
so
yeah, okay, Temple, like it.
Yeah, but hey, they're still rolling. I'm gonna say, looking forward. I'm not looking forward to watching Nebraska this weekend, but I'll probably watch. That way, I can comment this weekend because they're playing Michigan.
That's gonna get ugly quick.
We've got.
Ooh,
I might take that too. The line's 17.5. I might take that. The game that stands out to me, and this is, I feel strange saying it, and I don't really root for the football team, but Kansas versus Texas. Kansas has been putting up some points. It could be a slaughter. Texas has got some really big boys.
We'll see. It'll say if Kansas is legit or not, if they can make it a game.
I think that's kind of an interesting game.
I like that.
Kind of excited to see Michael Penix again. He's playing on the late slate.
Yep, he is a lot of fun to watch.
And I'm going to say this, and when we get into more Broncos talk, with their top 3 draft pick right now, I'm not hating it because I think there's some quarterbacks coming out that would be able to give us some hope. So
that's possible. That is possible.
Yeah, that 21.5. Georgia's line's 14.5 against Auburn. That might be worth jumping on too.
Georgia's up and down this year. They haven't been very consistent per se just yet.
That's interesting. I'll talk to my college football guy and see what he says.
I mean, Auburn's been real bad, so I kind of like that line. Yeah, I love that line, actually. Georgia should cover that with ease.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So
let's start with this. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get over that so then we can talk about this week.
It was an early game, right? So first slate, let's talk. Let's discuss.
We got out of the way early.
I think you had to check on you. Had to do a little call ahead. Make sure you're still breathing.
You know what's the actual funniest part of this game? This is actually of the one season and 3 games, this was Russell Wilson's best quarterbacked game that he's had. When you break down the film,
he was like 28 of 36, 305, touchdown, interception, something like that.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns called back, 2 fumbles by Sutton after big plays. Like if you look at like when he threw the ball, did he throw it to the open guy? Did he throw on time? Like he had his most efficient game as a Bronco, and then we lost by 50. Like, that's just disheartening.
Lost by 50.
And most of us any of us that were sane knew that they were. I mean, I took Miami and the 7 points. I felt like they were going to win by at least 7, if not more. And
wasn't that part of our parlay? Didn't we take Miami and the points as part of our parlay? We felt so good.
We did, absolutely.
Yeah.
So mainly, what's so frustrating is I have the Broncos offense is averaging 24 points a game now, compared to their 14 last year. So like to see that, like, okay, that's going up, and then the defense is going the completely opposite direction. And it starts all up front, all like a lot of people want to fire Vance Joseph, and I get it. I understand it. It's an easy thing to go after. But let's be honest, Vance Joseph wasn't on the field not tackling people, not running. Now, watching Miami play against us, like there was a complete speed deficiency. Like Miami was running full speed and the Broncos looked like they were in quicksand. Like it was something, it was so atrocious that I didn't even get mad watching it. I just laughed. And I have my tradition where I take a shot every time the Broncos score a touchdown. I got my shot early, and then by the fourth quarter, when the Broncos finally got that touchdown from Marvin Mims, I'm literally pouring my shot, and then I hear touchdown Dolphins. I'm like, what the hell just happened? Like, wait? And yeah, it was like, 60-yard run by A-Chain or whatever it was. And it was just like, okay. I just don't know. I just don't even know how you fix it. There's just no good answer. Because you can't go in the locker room and be like, hey, these 3 dudes didn't do their job. Nobody did their job. And that's not Vance Joseph. Like, yeah, Vance Joseph's scheme he was running probably like you got to run him. You get when you have speed like that, you got to try to do a man up scheme and like slow him down right up the front, and hopefully your safeties can help on the back end. You can't play zone against that team. They're just going to eat your zones up. And then with the zone, you if your D linemen aren't filling the gaps, like there's wide open holes for their running backs to run through. Vance Joseph didn't change up the scheme, but nobody on that defense was playing. Like he can't go out there and make tackles for guys. They were getting nothing from anybody. It was bad. It was bad. And maybe the Broncos punished themselves by letting those guys play the whole game instead of putting in the backups. I don't know if that was that's a punishment, but I think the backups may have given a little bit more heart, because they're trying to pay for playing time and money. So I don't know. It was pretty atrocious. I laughed. Thankfully, I've got 2 on fantasy. I've got Tyreek in a league. So it was still enjoyable on that end. And the Broncos have a top 3 pick right now. So, I've enjoyed watching some Michael Penix. I am on the Penix train. If we can't get number 1 and get Caleb, I'll be happy with Penix. And listening to the 5280 show, they were talking about the best move is to trade back. And I'm like, there is no way the Broncos with a top 3 pick with 3 really good quarterbacks are going to trade out of that pick. They're going to take a quarterback. Believe it. We don't need. This is a good one. I mean, you could say we need new linebackers, but we have undersized linebackers who, when defensive linemen don't hold up and let your linebackers flow to the ball, they're outmanned. You're letting offensive linemen get to the second level, they're going to kill those linebackers and you're done. Most of the NFL is using undersized linebackers. If you are, you got to have big old linemen to plug up the holes and let your linebackers flow. So, all right, Caleb, let it rip, buddy.
All right. There's some things to discuss here, Pinky. What was the one thing it looked like was lacking on the field from the jump, from the very opening kickoff? What did it look like the Broncos were lacking?
I mean, to me, it's all speed. Like,
it starts with an E and ends with a fork.
What?
They were missing effort.
Right.
It wasn't a speed deficiency. Once you get to the NFL, there's no such thing as a speed deficiency. There are guys that are fast, and you can scheme them to get open every so often.
That whole Miami team is fast, though.
The Dolphins could have hung like 35, maybe 42. Okay, sure.
I think they can hang a 50 burger on a lot of teams.
You don't hang that many points in the NFL unless you decide to just stop playing. And the Broncos decided to stop playing real early in that game. They were just going through motions. I don't know why, but that's what they were doing. What I will say, though, is when I see that, 9 times out of 10, when you see an entire team play an entire game like that, there's a message problem. Now, it can be the person delivering the message, or it can be the way in which the message is being delivered. It's a little early to say which of those two is the issue, but I will say last week I said something about Sean Payton to just keep an eye on that I thought could be an interesting storyline going forward the rest of this year. And that was, has the NFL kind of passed him by? Is the modern NFL no longer a Bill Parcells descendant friendly, if you will? And if that's the case, and that really is what we see as the season goes on, then it's the messenger, not the message. And that's an issue. That's a big issue. So that's the first thing that I thought about as I was reflecting on the game. Effort, message, messenger, or the way in which the message is delivered. What is it? And then the whole idea is the NFL no longer Sean Payton friendly. Is he no longer an offensive genius? Because Mike McDaniels took him to school. Plain and simple, Mike McDaniels basically decided to teach Sean Payton what offense was on Sunday. That was crazy.
Which, I mean, I think it's been pretty evident in his 2 years. He is a mad genius.
Look,
right?
We know I love me some Mike McDaniels. Look, I've been on the bandwagon since day one. Everybody's well aware of that. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is Sean Payton's supposed to be the offensive genius that he is. If he took that time off to really study, learn, and grow, it ain't showing right now. Not even a little bit.
I mean, again, like I said up front, the offense has gone from 14 points a game to 24 points a game in one season without any major overhaul in the personnel.
I'm getting there.
So
I'm getting there. Hang on.
He's still working on it.
I'm getting there. I'm not saying he's bad. Just saying he may not be the genius that people were claiming him to be, which means he may not have been the best hire. That's all. Again, Bill Parcells' descendant. The culture he sets in that building, just may not be what's needed for long-term growth and success. I'm not saying it is or it isn't yet. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying maybe people should start taking a step back and looking at the big picture here and saying there are some things here that may not add up to the modern NFL. Could they still work? Sure. Could they backfire and blow up in everybody's face? I think that needs to be something that is discussed openly. Because if it's not, it's more likely to happen than not. You know what I mean? So there's that, okay? There's the defense being historically bad. I think it was the greatest show on turf, and we talked about this last year. I can't remember who it was with, or maybe it was 2 years ago. But the Broncos are even worse. I think it was the greatest show on turf, averaged like 7.2 or 7.3 yards per play, NFL record. The Broncos' historically bad defense right now is giving up 7.1 yards per play. You can't win if your defense is giving up a first down every other play. You just can't. There's zero chance of you winning if that's what's happening. Now, that was supposed to be the strength of the team coming into the season. There's been some injuries. Not enough to really make a difference, in my opinion. You should still be good to go. Vance Joseph did just fine last year with Arizona's defense. They weren't great, but they didn't really have any dogs on that team. And they were still pretty damn good.
That defense is playing better without him this year.
Well,
with less talent on the team, they're playing even better.
Maybe the head coach is a better defensive play caller than Vance Joseph, right? But what I'm getting at here is this is not on Vance Joseph. He didn't forget how to call a defense overnight. Vance Joseph has always been a really good defensive coordinator. Say what you want about his head coaching tenure in Denver. That's fine. That's not what we're talking about. That's a conversation for another day. But nobody's ever said he's a bad defensive coordinator. And he's never had a historically bad defense. So then that's on the players. So again, if the players aren't willing to play and put in effort, is it the message, the messenger? What is it? Now, does that go to the defensive coordinator and they just don't like Vance Joseph for some reason? Does it go all the way back up to the head coach? And the whole team just isn't a fan of Sean Payton and his message? Or they don't mind Sean Payton, they don't like the message? I don't know. But there's something in that locker room going down right now, okay? Guys are not playing for each other, and they sure as hell aren't playing for the head coach. They just aren't. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out and why. The offense, as you mentioned, is scoring roughly 10 points per game more. What I will say, though, is there's a lot of field goals compared to touchdowns. And the Broncos don't have a whole lot of problem moving the ball between the 20s. But when they get into the red zone, they sputter pretty bad still. So when you look at stats, you look at scores, you look at points per game, yeah, they all look better than last year, but they're still not really scoring because there's a lot of field goals, which then in turn means one of Pinky's favorite things, empty stats. That's what a lot of that turns into.
They scored 4 touchdowns in the first game. They scored 2 in the first game. They scored 2. The second game they scored 4. This one they scored 2. They had 2 called back for dumb penalties that shouldn't have counted.
I'm getting there, Pinky. I'm getting there. Why are they not scoring?
I don't agree with what you're saying.
Well,
I don't think the numbers bear out to that at the moment.
It's the facts. It just is. They're one of the worst teams in the red zone this season. Their red zone percentage is one of the worst in the NFL this year. So, look, the numbers are what the numbers are, my guy. They're also not scoring very well because they're shooting themselves in the foot consistently still. Penalties and turnovers. Honestly, to my eye, this doesn't look really a whole lot different from last year's team. It doesn't. There's some new faces maybe. Maybe there's a little bit more points being scored, but on the whole, overall, big picture, if you're looking at it, from a distance and you're just seeing the landscape, you'd be hard-pressed to say it's a different landscape from the one that we saw last year. So if they're still making mental mistakes, they're still turning the ball over. Why? So if it's on the players, good. I'm fine with that. It's on the players. But then it was on the players last year too. Okay, fine. Was Nathaniel Hackett a good head coach? No, he wasn't. Was he as bad as everybody said he was? Maybe not. Now, do I think it's somewhere in the middle? Head coaching and players? Yep. But that means it is this year too. There's an issue with the head coaching and the players this year too. Now, they might be new issues. They might be different issues than they were last year. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the product is still the same. And it's still not a lot of fun to watch. There still looks like you need to do a complete gut job and rebuild. Like, I'm not seeing anything that makes me optimistic or that I want to keep around. Like, if I have the opportunity, somebody hands me enough money to go build a brand new house and buy all the furniture and decorations and everything for it, I'm not seeing anything in the house right now that I want to take with me. So
I'll take Marvin with me. I'll take Mims with me.
I'm not. Nope. Not even doing that. Leave it and move on. There's not enough there that says
you're out of your fucking mind.
That's incredible. Why? I mean, seriously, why?
Marvin's balling for a guy who's only played 27% of the snaps.
Because he's caught a couple deep balls?
He hasn't dropped any balls.
I said he caught a couple deep balls. Okay. There's a lot of dudes in the NFL who catch a couple deep balls.
I'm gonna keep that guy.
He's not catching like 7 or 8 balls a game. He's not getting me 80 yards on average.
He got over 80 yards last game in Miami, and he got over 100 the first game. He didn't play against the Raiders
total.
He didn't play against the Raiders, so he is averaging over 80 yards
total, right? Like 5 catches total. Okay.
He's averaging over 80 yards. You just said he wasn't. Like, dude, that guy can ball, bro.
There's nothing about him that is spectacular.
He's putting on a better show than most of the guys, so.
Okay, that's fine, but, I mean, he's a dime a dozen. Every team's got a Marvin Mims. Every team. That's all I'm saying. Like, if I have the opportunity to completely gut it and start over, I'd do it. Just leave everything behind. There's no reason to bring it with you.
Unfortunately, there's a salary cap, Caleb, and you can't do that.
I'm just saying, Pinky.
And you already got him on a cheap contract, so you might as well keep him. There's a couple guys worth keeping. Not many. I can agree with that. There ain't many worth keeping, but there's a couple.
So, and then you got players like Garrett Bowles coming out and saying, I've been here for 7 years and all I've done is lose. Well, yeah, man, like, you're part of the reason a lot of that loss was happening to begin with. Have you gotten a little bit better over the years? Sure.
Are you a above average tackle sometimes? Maybe.
I mean, are you living up to, what was he, the 11th overall pick, 10th overall pick?
17th.
17th? Are you living up to a 17th overall pick for your career? Maybe. Maybe not. But there was a lot of time there where you didn't block anybody. And if you did, you held the hell out of them and completely ruined anything the offense was trying to do. Have you lived up to the money you've gotten? Probably not. I would say close, but not entirely. So, you get guys like that coming out and saying these things. You get
like you don't hate it, but you're like you still haven't done anything great to be like that. Like now, if Justin Simmons had come out and said that, I'll take that. But
yeah, I don't. So that's just my honest facts take, Pinky. I'm not trying to be down, not trying to be hopeful. I'm just trying to say, what did I see? And those are the main points
for that top 3 pick, baby. That's what I'm hopeful for.
It'd be nice, but there's so many holes to fill. So many holes to fill.
There's a lot of holes to fill. Unfortunately.
And
glass half full, I still think we win 5 to 6 games and get out of that top 5 pick range. So
here's the thing. Even if you got one of those quarterbacks, is, again, coming back to it, do you really think Sean Payton is the guy to lead him and going forward and helping his growth and maturity to become a great NFL quarterback?
Maybe. We're seeing Russ play better football than he played last year. It's very evident.
I mean, that wasn't going to be hard to do, though. We've already, like, everybody knew that. Like, it was so dysfunctional last year.
So he's doing something right from
Sean Payton 2 weeks ago was talking about how they need to lessen the verbiage to help with getting the plays in and people being able to understand them.
Which can happen when you're installing a whole new system. I mean, that happens.
I mean, by week 2 of the regular season, you should have that verbiage figured out, you would think.
You would hope. Again, I still think he's got some. Is he on an Andy Reid level, Mike Daniels level? No. But does he still have the ability to coach offense and help guys? Sure. So I still think he could do that with a quarterback. I still think we could get some good play. Now, if you don't have the rest of the roster lined up, does that mean we're still going to lose? Probably. Which means, again, you're going to have to just keep taking those draft picks and hitting home runs.
Look, let's be honest. You made a mistake. There was apparently an offer for Judy for a first over the offseason. You should have taken that. If you could have gotten a second for Sutton, you should have taken that.
I don't think anybody dropped the first for Judy. Otherwise, he would have been gone.
That was the rumor going around that there was it was late first, like 24, 25, something like that.
If there was a first on the table, he would have been gone.
They didn't take it
because they didn't give him his 5th-year option until like the last second. So I'm pretty sure they would have taken a first if they had gotten it. They didn't get a first.
Just telling you the rumor I remember hearing, buddy. That's all. I'm just saying.
If they would have gotten a first, he'd have been gone.
I don't think they would have.
About it.
I think you're giving Peyton too much credit there up in the GM office. I think that dude is an epic fail as well. Really, I think the Walter Penner group should just honestly gut it, start over, eat it, and build a good product instead of trying to refurbish what the end of the Ellis Elway era established.
Somebody is going to take the fall at the end of the season. It's going to happen. And at this point, they picked Sean Payton. They didn't pick George Payton. I think he will be gone because somebody's got to take the blame. He swung and he missed
big time.
So he's had some decent draft picks that have, like, from where you picked the guy, that have been good, but overall his moves, Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, a couple guys. Quinn Miners was a 3rd-round pick. He's a decent guard on our team. We've got, I mean, he picked Javonte. I'm happy with Javonte. I like Mims. I know you don't.
Again, it's not that I don't think Mims is a good football player. It's what you passed up to take him. That's all. That's all it's going to come down to.
They passed up anybody. That was late 2nd round. It was the last pick of the 2nd round.
They need offensive and defensive line help more than they needed a Marvin Mims, and there were solid guys on the board still. That's all.
Possibly. They're also looking at replacing Judy, Patrick, and Sutton, so it's planning for the future too. That's part of it. They're getting rid of all 3 of those dudes. They're not going to keep those contracts on the books.
Absolutely, they need to. I mean,
especially if they're eating Russ's contract. If they get a rookie quarterback, they're probably letting Russ go because his contract is his 2025 year is guaranteed if he's on the roster March something of 2024.
Drafting Surtain was a mistake. This isn't 1980s NFL.
I wouldn't go that far yet.
Or even early 2000s NFL. It's not that. Look what the Bears did. They loaded up on their defense. How's that working out for them? Not well.
Their defense still sucks.
You want to win in today's NFL, you go offensive, and you get offensive-minded head coaches. Or you get a defensive-minded head coach who's got an offensive genius he's bringing with him. And you be sure about that. That's what it comes down to. That's been proven for like the last decade, basically. Broncos didn't get that message anywhere close to that message.
No,
So you're probably right.
We
probably will be the fall guy at the end of the season.
We are truly living the win a Super Bowl and suck for the next 10 years. Are you willing to do that? That's where we're at.
Oh, the problem with that, Pinky, is that means we need a Super Bowl again in 2 years. And I don't know if we're close enough to be able to do that because we've thrown away the last 8 without trying to build anything serious.
So we got to get that young quarterback, build up a little bit, and then you go all in, and then you push. So we're not quite there yet, but we'll get there. Let's pick up the positivity.
Do it, Pinky.
After that game. Cardinals kicking the shit out of the Cowboys. Like,
yeah, what happened there?
I feel like it was a typical Cowboys game of them walking in thinking they're the better team and not putting out the effort of we're going to kick the shit out of these guys because we're better than they are. They got behind early. I think they were behind 17-0 to start with. And then before you know it, they can't keep up. And again, they kicked field goals, not touchdowns, which that'll get you every time.
Another team that looks good between the 20s and not so much in the red zone right now.
And let's see, Colts with Gardner Minshew pulling out the win against the Ravens, which I called. I took the Colts.
I mean, the Ravens were missing, 7 starters or something ridiculous?
They were. I mean, there was a reason why it wasn't as hard for
and
the
let's
Colts.
be honest, the Ravens offense does not look good.
It looks out of sync. It's forcing Lamar. Well, in this game, he actually ran. God, he had so many runs, 14 runs for 101 yards. That's probably the reason why they were still in the game. That's not a winning formula. It can win you MVP. It can put up great numbers, but you're not going to win long term with that type of strategy.
I mean, you can. He's proven he'll get you to the playoffs. It's just when the offense isn't designed to do that anymore, it's not exactly going to equate.
How about the Chargers charging and the Vikings let them off the hook?
You've seen more of it recently, but trades in the NFL are not a huge thing usually in season. But do the Vikings move Kirk Cousins if they get a halfway decent offer if they lose again next week?
If I'm the Jets, I absolutely trade a first. They went all in. Kirk Cousins is on the last year of his deal, so they can let him go after the season. I think I would give up a first.
What if you said you can have Zach Wilson in a second?
They don't have a second because they already gave it up for Rodgers.
25 second. I don't care. I'm just saying in general, a second. We'll give you Zach Wilson in a second.
I don't know if the Vikings would move. Now, here's the thing. It's all about timing. If you wait till the trade deadline, the Jets are done. Like, Kirk Cousins isn't going to come in and save them.
That's what I'm saying. And Cousins can walk at the end of the season and go play somewhere else if he wants to. It's not like they can franchise tag him or anything like that. So,
but they're the best 0-3 team I think I've seen in a long time.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely they are. But you give Kirk, 3 weeks? 2 weeks to learn the playbook?
Bro,
and
he doesn't – I don't even think he need – like, you don't even have to play that way. You can hand the football off and look for Garrett Wilson, and I think they can win football games.
I agree. I'm saying, though, 2 or 3 weeks, he pretty much knows the playbook, and then you can start kind of rolling. Cousins on that team, they're a Super Bowl contender again, yeah?
they're at least in the playoffs for sure with that roster. Like that defense reminds me of pretty much like every Broncos defense we've had minus this year, where the defense is so good and the offense is so bad.
Absolutely.
That you're just like, you feel for them. You're like, unless you guys literally score touchdowns, you're not going to win the game. But I'm with you. I would, if I'm the Vikings, you did your best. You're in that middle area right now. I don't know. I don't know. I know they don't want to tank, but this would be the year to tank, in my opinion.
I mean, you're not going to bring Kirk back after this year, are you? Because you're not going to sign him to a long-term deal.
I don't know if you – I mean, the price has gone up. They were – previously they were paying him like $30 million a year guaranteed. Right. Now the price is over 40 guaranteed. I don't know if they're going to want to do that for the same results. How about this one? Saints up 17-0. Derek Carr gets hurt. Crab Daddy comes in, does nothing. Packers score 18 straight and win the game. That was crazy. That was crazy.
The Saints might have just lost their chance at the playoffs if Derek Carr has to miss.
Well, if Derek Carr is going to be out for a while, yes.
If he has to miss 4 or 5 weeks, that could knock them out. And that's a shame because that defense is pretty legit, and Derek Carr was playing pretty well with those boys.
Texans putting the ass whooping on the Jaguars
in
Jacksonville.
Let me just go ahead and be the first to say I could
we were
be wrong about the Jags.
We were wrong.
Yeah,
and I don't see. I see Trevor Lawrence from time to time playing very well at quarterback. He has not taken that elite step like people thought he was.
Dude, what I'm seeing right now is a team that has actually taken a step back from where they ended last season.
Right. And
no signs of it going forward any better. Now, look, we're 3 weeks in. They could easily go win the rest of their games and put us right back into being right. But that would be a pretty they look really out of sync to just all of a sudden flip a switch and go on a run. Now, they do get London 2 weeks in a row. They're home away from home. So that could help.
You know what I've noticed a little bit in watching Trevor? This season, he's literally just looking for Calvin Ridley.
Kind of looks that way, doesn't it?
It does. So with it, he's just looking at Calvin Ridley. And with Calvin Ridley, if he's covered, not covered, he's not just hitting the open man.
As my dear co-host just departs us.
Yeah, my cat's messing around and my daughter doesn't know what to do.
It was evident that D'Amico Ryan got those boys in Houston playing well. That was a good head coach hire. C.J. Stroud was the right pick for QB. Tank Dell looks like he could be legit. Damian Pierce, Nico Collins. Houston's got some young weapons. A decent offensive line. They're looking okay right now. Like, they've got a future, and they keep doing this, and Arizona keeps doing what they just did. And Arizona could F around and find out that they don't even get a top 10 pick somehow.
I mean, I feel like –
how would that be, Pinky? If Houston and Arizona both won just enough where Arizona got like the 11th and 12th pick.
I think the Texans are still going to get a top – like, they're still going to be in the top 10.
Yeah, but aren't you kind of rooting now for them both to win just enough for Arizona to get like the 10 and 11 or the 11 and 12?
Yes, because I really don't like them.
Let's root for that now, because I like that idea a lot more than them getting the first and second overall picks.
Where they're taking Caleb and Marvin Harrison?
Yeah. Let's watch them get 10 and 11 and draft two dudes who completely flop, and they wasted both the picks somehow. That would be an Arizona thing to do.
Well, if that's the case, they'd keep Kyler. Like, they wouldn't trade Kyler.
Right, but that doesn't make it better. Like, we've already seen how that ship goes. It's not great.
Yeah, I don't think Kyler's getting any better at quarterback. Lions putting a pretty good whooping on the Falcons.
I I wouldn't call it a pretty good whooping. I'd say the Falcons played a lot better game than people thought they would. That's what I saw. The Falcons are close to being really good, I think, honestly.
I mean, they're a quarterback away. I just don't see it from Ritter.
I don't either. I don't either.
He processes information slow. He doesn't quite have accuracy.
They're going to win too much to get one of these quarterbacks, though. So what do?
I mean, if I were them right now, it might be a little quick to pull the trigger. I think Tyler Heineke would make them a better team right now. I just don't think Ritter's going to ever get better. I think where he's at is where he's at.
I think Ritter's just a younger version of Heineke.
Probably, but I know Heineke can play good football. I'm not sure Ritter can. Ritter might already be at his ceiling, in my opinion.
So I was waiting
to
talk about this game before I threw out this thought. Are the Jets or the Falcons a playoff team that could possibly scare some people, maybe even make a crazy run all the way to the Super Bowl because of how good their overall teams are if Carson Wentz was their quarterback?
No. Because Carson Wentz is still, I don't know how to explain it, but he's got moments where he's on point, and then he's got moments like he doesn't know how to play football at all.
I agree. But if he could, he's capable of stringing together 3 good games.
With the Jets, possibly, I just, in this case, I think Heineke would still be better for the Falcons than Wentz. I really do.
Oh, we disagree there, and I like Heineke, but yeah, that's not.
I just don't think Wentz has got it in him, bro. He doesn't have that dog in him. He just doesn't. And
that's fair. Just a thought I had.
I think he could help the Jets. Like, the Jets are so bad. They were like, we've got to go get Trevor Siemian. Like, because Trevor Siemian can probably play competent play as long as he's protected a little bit to where
Siemian
they
can play better than Zach Wilson's playing. At least Siemian will throw it to the wide receivers.
Bro, Robert Saleh said everything I needed to hear after the Patriots game. Somebody asked him a question, and he let out the biggest sigh before he answered the question. And I was like, that says it all, man. That says it all. Zach Wilson sucks. There's nothing you can do right now. Nobody's trading you their backup quarterback right now.
When Solid says the right thing about Zach Wilson now, he says it with this look on his face like, guys, why you're really going to make me say this again, right? Like,
right.
Hey, I'm going to say it again. We all know I don't believe what I'm about to say, so why are you still asking me? But I'm going to keep saying it. We believe in Zach Wilson. This team believes in Zach Wilson. We can win with Zach Wilson. And the look on his face is one of just like somebody who had their nuts amputated without a decision of their own. Like, that's what it looks like. Like a man who lost his nuts.
Like, they needed some team. Again, for any of the teams that have a decent backup quarterback, Commanders with Jacoby Brissett, the Falcons with Heineke, even the Colts with Gardner Minshew, the Saints with Jameis Winston. There are guys that are not going to be the starters for the teams they're on. And I think if you would throw maybe a 2025 second at them, you might get them to say, you know what? Yeah, we'll do that. I just don't know if the teams want to give up that backup quarterback week 3. But that's really what the Jets need. They need a guy.
Here's a crazy
thought.
Play
some competent football.
What do you think it would take to get Justin Fields away from the Bears?
I don't think the Bears would let Justin go this year. I just don't.
You don't think they just say it's our way of tanking, and then we get the quarterback we want as our own regime?
But they're losing with him, so like they don't even have to play the tanking game.
But they won't get anything for him after this year, will they?
I mean, he's still under contract, So technically, he's a first-round pick, so he's got 2 more years of control. I mean, let's be honest. If he's going to get fixed, he's going to need to go sit with he's going to sit behind Patrick Mahomes and have Andy Reid teach him how to play quarterback. Like, he's not in a good place mentally. There's even in this last game against the Chiefs, and actually, if you watch that game, he played one of his better games. He just didn't have any real help. Like, there was nobody open. So, I mean, I felt bad for the guy. I was like, I really can't judge him because a lot of the times when he went back to pass, the route concepts they were running, nobody was open. So you didn't have anybody to throw to.
I know.
So you can't even judge him making a bad decision because you're like,
I know.
Where does he go with the ball?
I mean, it's a pretty incompetent organization for sure.
I mean, Cody says Davis Mills for the Jets. I mean, Davis Mills is better than Zach Wilson. Absolutely. That's
Definitely.
not even a question.
Definitely.
I think I'd take a 5th for Davis Mills. Yeah.
Ain't nobody giving up anything more than a 5th for Davis Mills. That would be high probably. But
that's desperation.
That could work.
Do you want Davis Mills or Trevor Siemian playing? You know
what's really funny is the Jets would be thrilled. That fan base would jump for joy right now if Sam Darnold came walking back through those doors. Think about that.
I think their fan base would be so happy if they still had Mike White.
Yeah, for sure. I'm still amazed that they let him go in the offseason.
The fact that they let Mike White go down to Miami.
That didn't make any sense.
Sign him. I think they'd be super stoked to have him back. God, man, the Jets. I feel so bad. Like watching Rich Eisen talk about it every week is so painful.
Oh, it's brutal, dude. Absolutely brutal.
And I feel bad for Jets fans. There's a guy at work who's a new guy, and he's a Jets fan, and we were talking about it, and I was like, bro, your team is ready. You went all in. You went and got the quarterback to help you win. I was like, trust me, bro, I was there. As a Broncos fan in 2012, when we went and got Peyton Manning, when he had neck surgery and, like, we didn't even know if he could throw a football anymore, like, that's a risk. It worked out for us. It didn't work out for you guys.
It still
at
could.
The moment.
It still could work out very well for the Jets. It's just this year is just brutal, man. Just brutal.
All right. Bills smacked the Commanders. Nothing to see there. 49ers smacked the Giants. Nothing to see there. Seahawks beat the Panthers. Panthers with Andy Dalton played. That defense is good, man. That Panthers defense is pretty good.
It is good.
Eagles beat the Bucks last night. That was pretty. Eagles were moving the ball up and down the field. It was just like when they got in the red zone, they had some issues. And then the Bengals beating the Rams. And this is only because of Stafford. Stafford throwing those picks, man. Like, he threw 2 picks on their side of the field that made, like, no sense.
I'm concerned about the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. With Joe Burrow right now. And when did T. Higgins, like, that dude couldn't catch a cold right now.
Like, I'm concerned about them to the point where it wouldn't surprise me at all if they missed the playoffs and they're right around 500 this year. Because I don't think at this point Burrow's ever going to get right.
He does. Well, there's 2 things. He had a little more mobility last night than he had previously. So it's getting better. But he doesn't quite have that mobility, and that O-line is not giving him the time he needs to throw those big chunk plays. He threw so many 7-yard slants to Jamar Chase, it wasn't even funny.
If they don't get those big chunk plays, they don't run the ball. And then that offense just sputters.
Right.
So, at this point, if I had to lean one way or the other, I would lean to the Bengals missing the playoffs right now than I would making it.
I actually had the Rams winning the game, and I took the up 10, and they had so many opportunities to go up 10 points. And
They sure did. They sure did.
So, Browns kicked the shit out of the Titans. Like we said, I was a little surprised by that. The Titans defense with Jim Schwartz, and they picked up Shelby Harris, and they picked up Lincoln Tomlinson. No, that's an offensive lineman. Davin Tomlinson. In the middle, that has made all the difference, man. Their D-line is balling.
Sure.
And good for the Brownies. My son's super excited, obviously. If their offense didn't give up 14 points to the Steelers, they'd be 3-0 right now. So things are looking.
The Browns defense is playing at what might be an all-time great level right now.
And you know what's scary? The last one with the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs beat the Bears. We saw that coming. Pretty much became kind of like an Avalanche where the Chiefs just kind of scored, and the Bears never really got going.
That coaching staff for the Bears just looks inept.
Mahomes has probably the best defense he's played with, which is probably good for the NFL because he's got the worst offensive talent that he's had since he's been there.
Yeah.
When you watch it, even against the Bears defense, there were moments where you're like, he doesn't have anybody to throw to.
Yeah, they're just not quite getting open right now. But it's the Chiefs. Like, they'll figure it out, right?
Well, they're just playing really good defense, though. And
I know, but I'm saying
if you keep giving the ball back to Mahomes, like
that defense, that defense is going to be fine for the season. That offense, we all know with Andy Reid and Mahomes, will figure it out.
I mean, the offense doesn't have to score 30 like it used to. Now it can score 27 and be fine.
Right.
So, all right. So we've buried week 3. Week 4.
Okay.
I do want to start out with the Broncos and the Bears. This game is the first time in NFL history 2 teams are meeting after getting completely mauled the week before.
Okay.
This is the first time in NFL history 2 teams that have lost by more than 30 points have faced each other in a game. Amazing as that is. Somebody's got to win.
Where's the game at? It's
in Chicago.
So early kick, 11 a.m. Mountain. 1 p.m. Eastern.
It's 11 Mountain on Sunday, yep.
In Chicago, I would say the spread, if I had to guess, would be Broncos 1.5.
It's Broncos by 3.
Okay. So basically what that says is Vegas thinks it's basically a coin flip game in the NFL.
Although a coin flip game would have Bears favored by 1 if it was a true coin flip.
You know what I mean, though. Like a 3-point game spread in the NFL is basically a coin flip. If the Broncos win by 3, they'll be lucky. That's how I feel about this game at this point in time. Because if the Bears really want to, and they pull their heads out of their asses, they could just run the ball down Denver's throat, and there's not going to be a whole lot Denver can do about it.
I don't know if
Chicago's defense is just atrocious. It's not really any better than the Broncos defense. So that means the Broncos should be able to score as well, which who knows? Maybe we'll see a really fun game that's like a 35-27 track meet of some kind.
Might as well. I mean,
let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I know is like the Bears offense is not great. That is where I'm like the Broncos should win this game, but all bets are off at this point. So
yeah, I wouldn't touch.
I wouldn't touch this game.
Pool. Nope.
No touchy.
Nope.
No touchy. All right. Ravens and Browns. Early, 11 o'clock game. That might be more fun to watch, actually.
Browns. I think there's not much to talk about. Let's keep moving.
I
will say this. After last week, I think Deshaun Watson might actually be knocking off the remaining rust rather than just not getting it back.
We'll see. I don't have a lot of faith in Tennessee's secondary.
I agree.
Their front four is good. Their secondary is not so much.
I'm leaning towards that. He's actually knocking off the rust side rather than I am. He's just is what he is now side. That's where I'm at. So we'll see.
We'll see. I'm not quite on either side yet. So I'm
gonna. What's the spread on that?
It's 2.5 Browns.
Ooh, I would take the Browns in points on that one.
All right, I'm gonna put that as a star. Chiefs and Jets. Sunday Night Football. Poor America.
What's the spread on that? 14.5?
10. 9.5.
Chiefs. Now, smash it. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? It's 9.5 Chiefs in Arrowhead?
It's in New York.
Oh. Smash it.
I don't care, though.
Smash it. Who cares? Smash it.
The Chiefs defense is going to make
9.5?
9.5.
Oh, man. Take that all day.
All right. You heard it here first. So we got Browns and Chiefs so far. Lions, Packers. Oh, this is Thursday. I'm excited. I like that. It's Thursday. Only game to watch.
Where's the game?
It's in Green Bay.
I like the Packers. I like the Packers in this game.
Lions are 1.5 point favorites. So that's a coin flip.
That is a coin flip. But I will take the Packers. I will take the Packers in this. I don't know if I put it in the parlay, but I do like the Packers to win.
I won't touch this game.
Fair.
I might touch the over. It's 46. I might. Maybe. No, it's Thursday night. Never mind.
That's the kicker. Thursday night could go over 100 or it could go under 20. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, never mind. You don't touch the over on a Thursday night.
Not on a Thursday night game. I will say Jordan Love looks like he could be the real deal here going forward.
Man, he is. Let me say this, and it hurts a little bit, but in my 2 quarterback league, I had the second pick. I took Hurts, and I'm not regretting that. Like, even though he's not great right now, he's still running the ball and giving me rushing touchdowns, and he's still making big plays. So we're doing fine. It came down to it, like in the 8th or 9th round, I was looking at the list of quarterbacks left, and it was bad. It was thin.
Sure.
Because it's a 2 QB league. You can play super flex,
right?
But you can only roster 2 QBs. That's it. So you can't pick like 3 and then play who you think the best 2 are, right? You can only have 2. And I was like, man, the best guy left is Jordan Love from what we've seen in the preseason. I got to take him there. I don't want to end up with Sam Howell and there was like a couple other guys. I was like, no, let me get Jordan Love. Jordan Love right now is the 2nd highest scoring quarterback in fantasy based on our scoring format.
You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If you listen to me, you're welcome.
I am the highest scoring. I was the Sacco last year as the worst team in the league, and I am currently the highest scoring team in the league.
Attaboy.
This season.
Attaboy.
So Jordan Love in our scoring format is 4th. 4th in overall. He scored 33, 29, and 32. So
imagine him being your 14th round keeper next year.
Well, our keeper rules haven't been completed yet, but it would be like your 9th. If it's past the 9th, it goes to like the 9th.
Yeah, well, I'm not voting for that.
We haven't set the final parameters to the keeper rule yet.
It's going to be 14.
We need to discuss that.
It's going to be round 14. That's what it's going to be. That's how
I
voted keeper to be. It's the whole point of a keeper. To get a steal.
We haven't discussed those rules yet. So, Lions Packers on Thursday night. Pretty excited about that. Falcons Jaguars in London, 7:30 a.m.
A week ago, I would have said I like what I'm seeing from Atlanta, but the Jags blow them out. Now I say Atlanta could steal one. That run game and Atlanta's defense right now look good.
and I'm going to say this, I'm going to watch this game on Disney Plus.
Yes, me too. I was just about to say that as well. Yes, dude. Yes. I'm so excited to watch that game with my little dude.
I don't know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it with Toy Story involved, but that just sounds fun. So why not?
When I'm up at 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday, and my little guy's, just finishing breakfast, and he wants to start doing things, I'm going to turn that football game on, and I know he'll sit down and watch it for at least a little bit, and I'm going to enjoy the heck out of that. I'm excited.
Cody's part of the crew too.
Attaboy, Cody. Attaboy.
He's gonna watch it on Disney Plus.
That's gonna be cool.
I'd probably say Falcons on this. I might do like an underdog parlay myself, where I pick like 2 or 3 underdogs to win, and they'd be one of them.
Okay.
I don't believe in the Jaguars right now.
What are the Jags favored by?
3.
Okay, that's what I thought it would be. Yeah, it feels like Atlanta's going to sneak this one out, unfortunately. Hopefully the Jags show up, because we thought they were going to be really good, but right now they're not showing it.
They're not. Bengals and Titans.
I want to say Titans, but after they let us down last week with the Browns, I don't see how the Bengals lose to them.
I don't know if the Titans can cover Jamar Chase.
Hell no.
At this point, you don't have to worry about Higgins because he can't catch, but Boyd is still catching. So my concern would be that now that Tennessee D-line can really put some pressure on Joe Burrow. That's the one thing Tennessee can do. That D-line is tough. I'm just not going to touch it.
No, we're not touching it, but I do think Bengals win that game.
It's Bengals are 2.5-point favorites in Tennessee.
Now, here's the scary thing, though. If Burrow isn't himself or for whatever reason can't play, then I think it becomes Tennessee's game. Burrow's got to look at least as good as he did last week, and I'm just not sold that he can do that week in and week out right now.
Buccaneers and Saints.
The Bucs win this if Carr can't play in. Right now, it sounds like Carr's going to miss at least 3 to 4 weeks, sprained AC joint. So Bucs win.
Bucs are 3-point underdogs in New Orleans.
I like the Bucs.
This will be the first game Kamara comes back.
I don't think he moves the needle at all right now, to be honest with you.
Okay. Commanders and Eagles.
Eagles
are 8-point favorites. I'm going to say Eagles cover that.
This is in Washington, right?
It's in Philly.
It's in Philly.
Or how about we lower the line to 6.5?
Man, I just don't. Being a divisional game, Eagles do have a couple injuries on the defensive side of the ball that concern me ever so slightly. It's just the NFC East, man. I wouldn't touch this game personally.
Okay. How about possibly we just throw in Eagles money line, which is probably minus 300.
Yeah, we could look at that.
And Dolphins Bills. This is probably the game of the weekend.
Where's it at?
It's in Buffalo.
I like Miami to win this game by at least a touchdown, but I think it's going to be a really good game all the way to the end.
Miami is 3-point dogs.
Really? Give me Miami. Give me Miami in the points.
Do you want that in the parlay?
What do you think?
I think Miami will get them, man.
I do too.
And
if Miami is 3-point dogs, picking them in the points, that means you're golden.
Yeah,
if we think they're going to win outright.
I mean, we could even move that spread a little bit if we want. We could move it to Miami +4.
I like 3. Let's not play with fire. I like Miami to just win outright. So let's take Miami in the points. If we're both thinking that, let's do it.
I think Miami in the points. Rams and Colts. Richardson could be back.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Minshew plays, I'd take the Colts. If Richardson plays, I think it's a coin flip.
It is a coin flip because they got Colts by 1.5 at home.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not touching it. I will say Puka Nacua, boy, they found another diamond in the rough there.
Bro, when Cooper Kupp is back,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, man.
Kyrian Williams looks pretty solid at that running back position. If they could find one more really solid dude, they got some pieces to build back up there real quick. The Colts,
Puka and Cooper, man.
Colts could be just fine talent-wise. The problem is they still got that owner who just seems to continuously make weird decisions that cost them their prime for whatever reason. I don't know how else to explain it.
Steelers and Texans.
Ooh.
I want no part of this game myself.
Where's it at?
It's in Houston. Houston is 3-point dogs at home. Now, I don't know if they can protect Stroud from TJ Watt. That's my concern.
I do think the Steelers will win. I really thought we'd see more from that offense by this point in the year.
They're not good. They're
not at all. Well, and that's what's crazy. That shows you how much talent they have. When Pickens is making these plays to keep them in the game, it's crazy. And I don't think it's Kenny Pickett is bad. I think he could be like a Kirk Cousins-ish type. Kirk Cousins light, if you will.
He's not on that level.
I think he could be. I do. But their play calling is bad, man. It's bad.
Their play calling is bad. I've seen him throw the ball, though. He's not on Kirk Cousins level at all. Like I said
Kirk Cousins light. I didn't say he was Kirk Cousins.
He's probably he's probably right under Andy Dalton.
I was going to say, where is he on the Andy Dalton Richter scale?
He's probably so if prime Andy Dalton was here, Pickett's probably here.
Well, then he's serviceable. Close. You know what I mean? He's not as bad as what the offense is showing.
They almost made the playoffs last year with Pickett. So could they make the playoffs with Pickett? Sure. They just need the rest of the team to be really good.
That's not. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, based on that rating, he's not as bad as what the offense looks like right now.
Right.
That's all.
So the other game of the weekend, that is like a suck for Caleb Williams game. Vikings and Panthers. It's in Carolina.
The Vikings should win this pretty easily, in all honesty.
Vikings should win. Now Bryce Young is 1 to 2 weeks, so if he's out again, Andy Dalton just looked very competent.
Carolina's better with Andy Dalton right now than they are Bryce Young.
They really are.
Does that mean Bryce Young is a bust or he won't be great long term? No, not at all. It's just the fact of the matter is they're better with Andy Dalton right now.
Andy Dalton knows where to put the ball right now.
Right.
When the plays, when the guys are rushing him, he's like, this guy should be open. Boom, he throws the ball.
Yeah.
Bryce Young's still waiting to read. Andy Dalton already knows where the guy's at.
Exactly.
No.
All that
Which a veteran
should. Carolina loses.
Okay. Raiders and Chargers.
How many points are the Chargers favored by?
6.
Ew.
The Chargers have been great. They've been really good in most games, but then they find a way to charge. They almost charged against the Vikings.
If I knew Austin Eckler was going to play, I'd say give me Chargers in the points.
How about Chargers money line? Do we feel
I like
okay
Chargers
with that?
money line. Mike Williams being out hurts too, so they got some injuries they're dealing with, and unfortunately, that's not a medical staff that's going to make sure guys get back on the field.
Did Jimmy G go out, Cody? I don't know anything about that. I thought he played that
concussion protocol.
Is he in concussion protocol?
Yep.
I don't know if I want to play it. The Raiders, Aiden O'Connell's pretty good. I don't know if I want. Yeah. Chargers should win that game, though. They should.
Chargers money line I like.
Cardinals and 49ers. Probably won't touch it.
What's the spread?
14.
Niners and the spread. Definitely.
Division game. I don't like
No, definitely. Guarantee you the Niners cover that spread with ease. Arizona is going to just bomb after last week in Dallas. Dallas laid such an egg. Like they did everything they could to lose that game to Arizona. It made people think Arizona actually might be good enough to cover the spread against the 49ers. They're not. Put that on the list, Mickey. You want to leave it off of yours, that's fine. But give it to me so it's on mine because that easy 49ers cover that 2-touchdown game.
You're saying they're going to win by 15 points.
At least.
Patriots and Cowboys.
The Cowboys will win. I think their offense starts figuring some things out a little bit. Their defense won't play that bad again. I don't think this is a blowout, though. I think Belichick and his game planning will make it a game. Call it 24-20, 24-17, somewhere in there maybe.
So that's a no. The spread is 7.
Oh, I'm not touching the game. Hell no.
This one, I am so hammering this. Monday night, Seahawks versus Giants. Giants are 1.5-point favorites.
What? Seahawks and 1.5-point dogs is what we can take there? Dude, yes, please.
Like I might throw 50 bones just on that game.
On that. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Absolutely. Seattle's not playing as bad as they've looked, and the Giants aren't playing as good as.
I don't know how the Giants are favored. I don't.
Well, the Giants just aren't playing good. Like they haven't even looked like they're playing good, and they haven't played good. So
right, I don't know how they're favored against the Seahawks.
I don't see how Saquon plays. The Seahawks.
You're saying he's possible.
If they're smart, they let him sit another week. But okay, I still don't think he's his 100% explosive self. The Seahawks and Geno have played a little down, but I would definitely take the Hawks in this game.
All right, so we got the Dolphins. We got the Eagles money line. We got the Browns. And we got the Chargers money line. We got the 49ers and the spread. How about just the over? The over is 43.5. The odds are over almost the same.
No, because it could literally be like 35-3.
Chiefs are 10-point dogs. We wanted, or 10-point favorites. We wanted that. Seahawks. All right. So if we put I've got a $10 free bet. I put that $10 free bet on there. That would win $421.
That's a lot safer than the one we did last week, huh?
The one we did last week, it was 8 picks, and it would be a $10 free bet was $1,000. So we can add one more game in there.
No, we're not trying to be greedy. We're trying to go with what we feel is like really solid. That's what we did. We're good. I like it.
Right.
I like it. That's what we're looking at for this week.
I'm locking it in.
Cool.
Locking it in. The only game I'm not quite sure of is the San Francisco one.
I like that
just
one.
because 14 in a division game.
It's a lot.
I'm not sure, but I will send that over to you. So the Sports Nonsense and Whiskey parlay of the week. Miami +3, Eagles to win, Eagles money line. Browns minus 2.5. Chargers money line. 49ers 14. Chiefs 9.5. Seahawks plus 1.5.
I like it. I like it. Final thoughts for the week, Pinky.
Man, I kind of wish we could flex out that Jets game, Jets-Chiefs game. I know they can't flex until after week 4, but God, I wish we could, because nobody wants to watch that game.
For real.
We would much rather watch Bills and Dolphins is the game. I'm sad because that's on at the same time as the Broncos game, and I watched the whole Broncos game. So
what's sad is that would have been Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and that would have been an amazing game, and we don't get that.
We do not.
Final thoughts, Broncos fans. Start listening to me, because the sooner you start listening to me, the sooner you'll be where I'm at, which is a place of acceptance. And it's a beautiful place to be in, because you're not angry, you're not mad, you're not sad, you're not happy. You're just able to move forward. If you don't want to listen to me and you want to keep telling me I'm an idiot, that's fine too. You go right ahead. I'll be waiting over here at acceptance when you're ready.
I mean, I'm accepted that we're pretty bad, and at this point in the future, there should be nowhere else to go but up. So I'm going to take it.
Okay. Cheers. Everybody, we cannot tell you enough. We cannot express it well enough how much we appreciate the love, the support, the likes, the shares, the re-X's. I don't know what to call those anymore. Any way you show us support and love, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means the world to us. Do not take those moments with your inner circle, family, friends, loved ones for granted. When those moments come up, cherish them, jump on them, always take advantage of them. Pinky, you're my boy. Love you, my guy. We're out until next week. Appreciate everybody. Peace.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.